And you acted with Eddie Murphy in Trading Places, which was one of my favorite movies.
We love Eddie.
Oh, and Eddie. What do you remember about that experience? That's you.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, there I am. Yeah, tell us how you cut the dude. I was in the background trying to upstage this master comedian and marvelous actor who is always so generous.
Yes.
It's been so many years since this movie. I remember that's where I learned not to be jealous. You know, being behind this guy, I said, wait a minute, don't try to do what he's doing. He's got his thing. Do what you do.
Right.
Observe and play the space that you have. And I tell you, I learned a lot on this film from him. He is the master improviser,
yes,
the most wonderful human being who really goes with his gut, and when he feels something, he waits for the camera to roll, and he does it. And I really admired that and learned so much from Eddie on that film.
I love that. You a busy man.
Yes, ma'am.
Like you just did, like you work with Eddie Murphy again?
Work with Eddie Murphy
Oh my
again.
God, what is that like?
Man, you know Eddie Murphy, man. Big shout out to Eddie Murphy,
Yes.
man. You know Eddie Murphy.
I wish I could have been on this set right here.
Oh, man. I did my first movie, the first thing I ever did with Eddie was Dr. Dolittle, and that was years ago. But
yes.
ever since I've been working with Eddie, man, he got the magic touch. I've been getting all kind of good work. I told him, too. I said, Eddie, I'm running out of work. I need to be seen with you again, man.
Yes, because y'all known each other for a long time.
Oh, yeah. You know, I've been watching Eddie Murphy since I was a kid, so to be standing there with him, I didn't want to go fan out and get too, you know.
Because
so
he got that effect.
Yeah, he had that effect. I'm like, oh, man, I'm standing here with Eddie Murphy. Every time we get a break, I call somebody. He's standing right here. He got a black leather jacket on.
I totally understand. Huh? You said
Somebody
something
said
about
Eddie
me?
Murphy.
Eddie, oh, Eddie.
Hey, I ain't no jukebox, man. Hey, look, that's funny, but you know, go ahead and put the scenario up so people can see it.
The eyes, too, y'all see this?
Yeah, yes.
Did you see this?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been a while since we got to work together, so you know what? Maybe you just read the card.
Because we did Dream Girls.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Yeah, Jimmy
my
got
God.
soul. Jimmy got soul.
You're in the movie with Eddie Murphy?
Oh my God.
Tell me all about that. Congratulations. Were you starstruck? I mean, you gotta be.
Well, first
Eddie.
of all, let me ask you a question. You say it like you haven't been in the movie with Eddie Murphy. She's like, she's been in a movie with Eddie Murphy. I was like, no. There's some things in life where you're just like, wow, this was a wow moment for me. And he came on stage, he was like, what's up, Lala? And I was just like, yes, Eddie Murphy knows my name. This is so crazy. But you know what was so crazy? We would do scenes and he is a master, just incredible. And then as soon as they said cut, it's like you would look up and he would be gone. I'm like, where did Eddie go? And all of a sudden he would just be gone. And then when they needed him back, he'll pop up and then just be gone.
That sounds like the Eddie I got to know too in Dream Girls. It was very much like that. Tell me, how did you get interested in comedy?
I got interested in comedy when I was probably in, I think 11th grade. My next door neighbor in my apartment complex, his name's Grady. Grady gave me this Eddie Murphy Raw VHS tape. And and yeah, I watched that tape like 3 times a day. It just kind of like clicked with me. Yeah. And that's when I knew I wanted to do stand-up. But I wanted to be an actor at first. I just wanted to act, and it wasn't I couldn't act in Maryland. The only show that was shooting there was The Wire, and I'm not a good drug dealer. I couldn't sell drugs. I'd be, hey, you want some drugs? I couldn't do it. So I had to do stand-up to kind of catapult into an acting career, kind of like, you know, my idols like Eddie, Richard Pryor, and Martin.
Great idols.
Yeah.
Okay, and then later you got to be in the film with Eddie Murphy with Coming to America too. That is amazing. What was that like? You went from like idolizing him to being in the film. How did that all happen?
It's so full circle how that happened, man.
Yeah.
Well, I auditioned like everybody else.
Okay.
And I guess he liked my tape, and I got the gig. And it was so crazy just meeting Eddie. And they say don't meet your heroes, but I met that guy. I'm glad I met that guy. He's a wonderful dude.
Yes, he is.
A wonderful person.
I got to work with him in my first film, Dream Girls, so I know.
Yeah, I love that movie, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you know, he was just so giving, you know, and there are moments when you want to ask him so many questions, but I just watched him. I just kind of just listened to him when he spoke. you know, well, if you're talking, you're not really learning. So I just made sure I watched everything and listened to things that he would say. And they were nuggets, man. He's just so smart. He's just smart. He has a mind for comedy, and he appreciates the ones that came before him as well.
Such a legend.
Mm-hmm.
Such a legend.
Yeah.
Now, you've been in the game a long time. How long ago, how old were you when you started doing comedy?
1989, right out of high school.
Out of high school?
Right out of high school.
Oh
I saw
my
Eddie
God.
Murphy and I just fell in love. Like, I mean, I loved Richard Pryor, but when I physically saw Eddie Murphy on HBO, that's when I was like, I want to be him. I remember asking my mom for the red leather outfit. I was like, I need a red leather outfit. And she was like, Joseph, no, you can't wear leather. And then I ended up, that's Raw, by the way, what you just posted, and I went to Raw. I went to Raw when I was 15 years old.
15?
I was 15. And back in the day, they didn't have like Ticketmaster.com. You had to literally like phone, you know what I mean? And then you give a credit card number, and then the person that was on the other line had to like determine whether or not that's really your card. So I would just use my mom's voice. This is like 85,
I was
86.
gonna ask, how did you do that at 15?
I was just like, I really want 2 tickets to the Eddie Murphy comedy show. Where would you like your seats? Oh, the best possible, if you don't mind. And literally, that's how I got my tickets. I went after school and picked up my tickets, and I was 15 rows from the stage, and we sat at it was the Seattle Coliseum when I saw him at 15. And then fast forward, it was so crazy, because I remember sitting there looking up at the ceiling and just seeing it packed, and I was like, I can't believe this many people are here to see that. And then fast forward to like 2 years ago when I sold out the same arena.
The same arena?
That I went to, yeah.
Now that's crazy. And you got to work with one of my favorites, who I got to work with in my beginning of my career, which was Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
What was it like working with him?
It's crazy. I don't know if you had the same experience as me, but he is not as loud as you would expect him to be.
Not.
He talks so quiet. He's very like, yeah, how you doing? You doing all right? You all right? Everything good? And then you start a scene and he's like, hey, yeah, this. And you're just like, where did that come from?
Yes. In your first movie experience, you worked with Eddie Murphy, and I did too. So I'm curious to know, how was your experience working with Mr. Eddie Murphy?
Nerve-wracking. It's
nerve-wracking,
Eddie
right?
Murphy, yeah.
I know.
It's so scary the whole time. And I felt like a nerd every time he would show up, because I'd get all nervous and sweaty and look at the ground until he left, you know, like I didn't want to make weird eye contact. I'm just like, like a dork, because it's Eddie, you know. I grew up watching him since I was a kid.
Right.
I'm a big fan. I grew a tail like he had in Coming to America.
You grew a tail?
I grew a tail. I put beads on it. I thought it was crazy. I thought I was Prince Hakeem. It was like a whole thing.
Did you tell him all of that?
No.
You didn't tell him?
No, I was so scared to talk to him. Anytime he would speak to me, I was just like, oh, yes. And just look straight, you know?
Well, okay, we both worked with Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
What was your experience like?
My experience with Eddie Murphy was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I first worked with him when I was 9 years old on Dr. Dolittle. Wow. And yes. And I feel like he was the first person that I ever watched be on set and just be a light and have great energy. And then when it was time to work, it was time to work.
Right.
So it kind of taught me how to maintain my energy on set. Like, we're here to have a good time, but we also here to make something happen.
Yes.
So my experiences with him was amazing.
If you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe to the Jennifer Hudson Show YouTube channel. Check your local listings or visit jenniferhudsonshow.com to see when you can watch full episodes in your area. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter.